Welcome back to our channel. As promised, we keep bringing you key opinion leaders, people who are actually shaping the future of the space and also bringing forward the space. We need these people because this is how we get to mass adoption. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying with us. And we are live again for Paris Blockchain Week. This is 2025 and we have ATV in my chair. He's going to introduce himself, so let's dive in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and the audience. My name is David Robnett. I'm with Asset Token Ventures. We're an asset management fund based in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and just excited to be here. We were, just last week, we were the world's first tokenized version of mortgage-backed securities, U.S. residential mortgage-backed securities, to hit the market with a great demand and a great success story right out of the gate.
Wow. So, tell me, you guys are in the space, you're trying to move forward, you are everywhere, because everywhere we are, every event, I see someone from you, and I think it has to do with Luna, because Luna PR is amazing. So they are pushing you guys forward to the point where you keep getting exposure. Now, what can we expect in the next 6 months from you with the launch that just happened? Where are you going next?
Well, it's been interesting because we came out of the gate with our own direct managed funds. So we offer people the opportunity to invest in U.S. mortgage-backed securities. But interestingly, the platform that we've developed has become very popular. We've had other fund managers come to us, even though we've only been out of the gate and launched a couple of weeks. Other fund managers have come to us and said, gosh, you're working in such a manner with the tokenization, having this available for the mass audience, and also doing it in the U.S. Virgin Islands where it's a very tax-efficient structure. Yeah. So they are coming to us now saying, can we utilize your platform to put our fund on, because we can be more efficient, we can deliver a better return for our investors, and in turn attract more capital and be more efficient out in market.
My experience with tokenization comes from blockchain real estate. And they take properties, they tokenize it. So when it comes down to what you are doing, what's the difference?
Well, and we could have done this either on-chain or off-chain too. The concept of working with the U.S. Virgin Islands and their tax-efficient programs works no matter what. But we saw where the space is heading. It's the old Wayne Gretzky quote of, skate to where the puck is going. Exactly. And so we saw, at Davos this year, you saw mainstream Wall Street, people, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, JPMorgan, tokenization of real-world assets was the conversation that was being had by everyone seemingly at Davos. Yeah. So mainstream adoption is not coming, it's here. And therefore we wanted to be one of the leaders in the space, and although we could have done this in a different fashion, we wanted to be the leader here in the tokenized world. And as I said, we've gotten great market acceptance for our own direct managed funds, but surprisingly, even to us, with the other fund managers coming wanting to utilize our platform has been fantastic for us, and I think it speaks to the overall marketplace and how it's moving toward a tokenized model for everything.
Everything. Now, the change in government that happened this year for the United States, is it beneficial for what you're trying to do, or is it going to work against?
Well, that's a very polarizing topic all over the world today. Yes. And I think what we're seeing is there's a lot of uncertainty in the space. But the positive side is we're seeing more and more regulatory clarity. And I was just in a session just a few minutes ago, Charles Hoskinson was talking about how with regulatory clarity we're going to see even more adoption, and I completely agree. Over the course of the next few months we may see, for example, stablecoin legislation passed in the US. And if that happens, think about what that means. The conversation may turn from not Circle versus Tether.
Exactly.
Does it become Apple and Amazon versus Circle and Tether?
Exactly.
And when you have that type of clarity, the people that have, is it the people who have the depth of experience and have been doing this for years and years? Or do you see new entrants in the space that have millions upon millions, if not billions of users on their platform already. It's going to be an interesting conversation and debate.
Very good. Now, when it comes to the actual mass adoption, your company is part of making sure that more people get into the space. For the next year or 2 years, where do you see that going?
Well, right out of the gate, we are working solely with qualified purchasers. So in the U.S., we are security under the U.S. Securities, where we file and follow all the U.S. securities laws for the SEC. We are Reg D offering in the U.S., a Reg S offering outside of the U.S., so we are global in nature. And with that, qualified purchasers can come and invest in our fund. Now, over time, we see this as, with more regulatory clarity, we'll be able to file what's known as a Reg 40, or an Act 40 filing, and make ourselves available to more and more retail investors. So we do want to democratize the space. Typically, with our first direct managed fund, and we'll have more, but with the first fund in the MBS space, mortgage-backed securities, it's typically been a space where it was primarily limited to institutional investors and very high net worth investors, and we want to democratize access to that.
Now, as you keep growing, you're going to come against hurdles.
Of course.
What's a hurdle you are foreseeing?
Now, great question, and really the biggest hurdle that we see right out of the gate becomes education. So again, with our direct managed funds, some people need clarity and education surrounding, okay, what's the end product? What is a mortgage-backed security? What's the yield? What's the risk rating? And how does that fit into a fixed income portfolio? Then we also have the people from traditional finance that are used to investing in mortgage-backed securities and fixed income, and they sometimes need to be educated on the tokenization process. What's the security? How is this legally, my investment? And so as we go through this, it's an educational process that varies from individual or company to company.
Wow. Now, growth happens naturally. You guys are pushing for this growth as hard as possible. Your involvement with the crypto space keeps growing itself. How do you make sure that as you go along, the bad influence and the bad actors do not affect your brand?
Well, in our particular case, we are working with some of the leaders in the space. Securities is a platform that we work with. So we make sure that we deal with brand name companies across the board. So whether it's our auditors, our custodian, our platform that we're using, we deal with brand name companies who have the KYC, the AML requirements in place to make sure that the bad actors, nothing is foolproof, obviously, but they're going to have a tougher time with us than with almost anyone. Additionally, we keep an off-chain record of all of our clients and the positions that they hold. So one of the questions that we often get is, I have a digital wallet, I'm new to this, what happens if I lose my key? Well, we have an off-chain record that can be reconstructed so that we do have a redundancy built in to make people feel ultra safe and ultra secure.
Very good, very good. So, Asset Token Ventures is synonymous with security, expansion, growth, and innovation. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for listening. We will keep bringing you people like David, people who are bringing forward the industry, bringing change, and helping us all grow. David, it was a pleasure.
Oh,
thank you
fantastic.
very much for your time.
Thank you very much. This was
You're very
fantastic.
welcome. We'll see you soon.